Jamie.
Hi, I'm Gemma
From Play to Learn Preschool. Thanks for joining us. Today we are counting down the days to the end of the school year. Are we?
Yeah.
It's so tough. I have a little story first before we share what we came on to share. So when my oldest daughter, she's probably like 10, and my next door neighbor had, at the time, 5 kids, and her oldest one was getting ready to go away to college, and I could get really almost like weepy, like even thinking about him going away to college. Do you remember this? And I said to her, how in the world are you handling this? How are you okay with him going away to college? And she said, Jamie, God prepares your heart. He makes those kids start to act in such a way that you will not be sad when they move out. And I couldn't imagine it with my own daughter at the time. But I feel it's the same way with preschool.
Yeah.
Like, if you would have asked me in November how I'd feel on the last day of school, I would get a little weepy. But God takes care of you.
It's after spring break. I'm sure everyone
It's
else is
so
feeling it
nice.
too. After spring break, they go a little crazy.
I'm like, do you guys remember the rules around here?
Rules? What rules?
Rules? Ah! They're wild. So we love them. Love them, love them, love them, and they're ready.
And they're too big.
They're too big for the space.
They're
They're
like
ready.
Their legs and their arms are falling off the chairs.
Loud. Anyway, we have 2 more weeks. Our last day with our pre-K students is 2 weeks from today, May 29th. And then the last day with our younger kids is Friday the 31st. So we have about 2.5 more weeks with our students. Today, though, we are hopping on to share with you an idea, a simple idea for a dramatic play center that is actually so popular with our students. It's been up for 4 weeks. We usually only leave our dramatic plays up for a week or 2. And this one has been up since spring break. They just love it.
And they were sad when we said it's time we have to take them down.
I know, which is a winner, right? It doesn't take up a ton of space. So I know sometimes we share a dramatic play and people say, that's a great idea, but I don't have the space for it. You don't need any special materials. So other times we'll share an idea and people are like, that's great, but I don't have all those Melissa and Doug sets, or I don't have.
You don't need anything special.
You don't need anything special.
Everything you need for this, you have.
Thank you. Everything you have. So this is our library dramatic play. It was born from a very organic reason many years ago when we were doing our fairy tale unit with our students 10 or 12 years ago, probably when our older kids were here. And the kids would just love the book so much. They would ask, can we borrow this book? Can we take it home? And I think
yeah, of course you can take it home. And then, because
light bulb.
Well, more of the fact that we can remember who took which books.
That's true.
And we love the fact they want to take the books, but then like, oh, who took that one? And then you lose them. And you don't want to lose your books because they're your books and you don't have to keep replacing them. So that's how we figured this out.
A little light bulb, like right off our heads.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll just make a classroom library.
Yeah.
For us, it works perfectly when we do the fairy tale unit. So these are just our fairy tale books with our students, but you could do it with any books. If you don't have, just a set of fairy tale books, you could just really choose any books from your classroom.
And you can do this at any time of the year.
Or all year long.
Yeah, it's up to you. If you want to keep going with it, you can.
You totally could. You could just have a basket of books that they're allowed to borrow and take home. So I'm going to flip the camera and show you how we have set up our library dramatic play. At the very end, when we log off, I will go back and leave links with some more pictures so you can see them. I just didn't do that before we went live. So hello.
And most of your kids will have hopefully been to a library. So it's a real life experience for them. They already know how to do this.
If we were really on the ball, we would have arranged a field trip to a library
That would have been smart.
next year. We'll put that in the
It's
plans
the end of
for
the year,
next year.
remember? We're just
White knuckling it,
We're
trying to
doing
get to the end. All right, I'm gonna flip the camera around and just show you. It's a very small area of our room. It's just in our reading nook. So I'll just show you how we have the library set up and the couple little things that we created for the students just to help us keep track of the books that they're borrowing back and forth. Okay, here goes. And I said I was gonna switch it. And do I have up the screen that lets me switch it? No, I do not. Oh, here we go. Ta-da. Okay, so the sort of the quiet area or the reading nook in our classroom is at the bottom of the stairs that go up to my house. And we just hung a sign that says the library is open. We organized our fairy tale books onto 4 shelves. So these are vinyl rain gutters. I got the idea off of Pinterest. a couple of years ago. It's a really good way to display books. And we've just sorted them by the fairy tale that we read. So the Little Red Hen books are on the top, the Goldilocks books are on the bottom, the Billy Goat Scruff, and the Three Little Pigs. And then should we do the inside of the books first, do you think? So what we've done for the books that we're willing to loan out to the kids,
One of my favorites.
right on the inside of the book, we just put a little library pocket, and we have these printable labels that we just printed. And then I just printed pictures off of Google Images. I can't sell those because you can't resell.
To match the book, obviously.
And
But
so,
if you don't want to do that, you could just write. It's just easy for the kids to match it if they can see the picture.
you could just write the words and then
Yeah.
have the teacher do the matching.
Yeah.
That would be the easy way to do it.
But if you want to be fancy,
or if you want the kids to have more
make it for the kids. It's easy for the kids. They can match up the front.
more independence. So each book has a card right in the front, and then we
I'm gonna
gave.
take this one out. It's my favorite.
Is that your favorite book? Do you
don't
have a library card?
I don't. So I'm gonna pretend to be Will.
Okay. So you
Here
can
I
be
am.
William.
I'm Will.
So each kid, we made them a little library card. It's just printed. We wrote their name on it. It's really low tech. Gemma laminated them for durability.
Yep.
And at the very beginning, we gave each kid a card and told them, that we trust them to take the books home. And so if they want to check out a book, all they do is just swap their card, their library card, with the picture of the book. And on this wall, we just have this little
Very low tech.
low tech. We have each kid's name up with a tag, and you can see that really close. It's just a binder clip that we duct taped underneath their name.
It's
super low tech. Look at this. And they just switch it out. So you could use a clothespin too.
Yeah.
And they hang up the picture of the book that they're taking out and put their card in the book. So if we ever find the book just kind of laying around, then we know who was supposed to have it. And if they don't bring it back, we know which book they have.
Yeah.
So it's like a double
So
check.
another trick that we've had is at the end of the day, you may want to take a picture of who's got which books, because another thing that they do like to do is move them all around.
They do.
So then you're like, oh, who has such and such? So I just click a picture with my phone just to remind myself, because I'm getting old. I can't remember.
We've set up this cute, you're not getting old.
I feel it.
We just set up over here a monitor. It's an old Dell monitor.
Nothing shows up on it.
Nothing. And an old
It's
keyboard.
not connected to anything.
It's not wireless.
Take it apart. Take it apart.
And the kids just pretend to be the librarian. So they sit over here,
And they pretend.
type the name.
Who wants to check out a book?
And then they can take it home. We, of course, have role-play name tags for the kids. So somebody who's going to check that everybody has their library card, somebody who just wants to sit and read, somebody whose
Librarian.
job is to reshelve the books.
There's always someone wants to be a security guard.
There's lots of security here at our library. It's a very secure place. And then the last thing is that when they are bringing their book back, so we ask them just to bring one each day, and they have to bring it back every day, and they just put it in the book drop.
And someone. Normally themselves, because they like to do all the things.
All the jobs.
So this is someone else has returned this, so I'm not going to be Will anymore. I'm going to be somebody else.
You could just be the librarian returning the books.
Okay, I am. Oh, I see. Asher has returned his book. So
we just swap them out.
The little tag from Asher's clip. Put it in the little pocket.
And then he can either check out another book, or if he doesn't want to check one out, we just hang up their card so we know that they're eligible to check out a book next time. Lots of these kids don't have cards or books right now because we're getting ready to put this one away.
And they've returned them.
They've returned them. And then they just put the book back on the shelf. The pictures make it really easy for them to sort the books, which is a good kind of pre-reading strategy to know that books are grouped by theme or topic. And then we've got like a little story time. So sometimes they'll sit over here with the baby dolls and read them a book and sort of just pretend like it's story time. Now I have to try to get back with the camera. Oh, look at us. And so they'll just kind of sit back here and have like a baby doll story time with the books that they have checked out.
Or they read to each other.
Or they just read to each other. It's super simple. I'm even thinking we should do it next year, just have a basket of like their favorite books.
Yeah, that's always the favorite.
And just all year long, let them check out books and take them home. I know some people, when I first shared this idea a few years ago, some people were like, what if you don't get the books back? And that's a risk I guess you take. And oh, it's just a cough. That's a risk that you take, when you're loaning your things out, but it's a risk I want to take because the payoff is that they're taking the books home and reading them to their families and sharing the things that we've learned in class. And so that is totally worth it to me. If we lose a book or two in the process, that's a price I'm willing to pay so that they're reading more. And some other people are like, what if your books kind of get, torn up or tattered a little bit? Are you okay?
Sorry,
It's okay. She's got a cold and there's like pollen craziness here.
I'm sorry, I have a very, very bad cold.
I think in the last video I sneezed right
I know,
in the middle.
I'm sorry.
The pollen is insane in Virginia.
I was trying not to cough all the way through the video and I just couldn't do it anymore.
The books do get a little bit tattered, but here's the thing. Would you rather have a book that looks like it's never been read or a book that looks like every child has read it and enjoyed it? And for me, it's always the latter. Like I would rather my books look like we've been reading them than they look pristine like they're on a bookstore shelf.
And they feel so grown up when they take their books out and they're all responsible with their book and they come back the next day and like, I brought my book back, look at me, I brought it back. So
it's kind of fun too when they negotiate. Like there's a couple of really popular books. The Three Little Fish and the Big Bad Shark is, I'm actually a little surprised it's on the shelf today because they all really like that one. And there's another one, the Three Little Rigs.
They love that one too.
And so they almost like negotiated with each other. When I bring this back, come over to the library with me.
You can have it next.
We'll put it in the slot at the very same moment that you get your card out and you can be next in line, which is so much fun just to see them sharing and making plans and
And these are the
problems.
books that we've been reading during our fairy tale unit. So a lot of them are really familiar with a lot of these books. So
I love tattered books too. I hope at the end of my career, all my books look tattered, that they all look like, wow, these are some really well-loved books. I feel the same way. I want them to look like kids have been reading them. I agree. All right, so that is our idea. If you have a small space or not a lot of resources, all you need to do is make a little card for each book and a little card for each kid, and they can just borrow the books and set up a classroom library.
that's it. Sorry, I was coughing. I feel bad. I was like coughing in the background.
Too bad you don't feel well. All right, so that's it. I hope you have a great afternoon. Have fun playing and learning with your kids.
See you next time.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.